In this third video in my series on what to play over 2-5-1s, we're going to look at a couple of melodic 2-5-1 licks from John Coltrane from the Miles Davis song 4. Now you're going to see how Coltrane's approach is different yet still melodic. And be sure to stay tuned to the end for an extra pro tip on a strategy Coltrane used that you can apply to your solos. Are you ready? Let's get to it. Hey, I'm Donna from DonnaSchwartzMusic.com, and if you like getting tips and strategies to bring your playing and improvisation to the next level, subscribe to my channel and tap the notification bell to know when new videos are out. In this video, we're going to look at a 2-5-1 lick that Coltrane played in his first chorus of 4 from the Workin' with the Miles Davis Quintet album. In a previous video on this song, I showed you a few patterns from Miles Davis's solo. Now 4 is in concert E-flat, and Coltrane's solo on the video starts around 2 minutes 40 seconds in. He doesn't come in right away at the top of the form because Miles is finishing up his solo. He starts in measure 3 on that minor 2-7 chord. So he's starting on the 2-5-1 lick that I want to show you. The concert chords are E-flat minor 7 to A-flat 7, and then continues on to another 2-5-1 lick. Let's listen to the whole thing. Let's listen at a slower tempo. Now this is totally different than what Miles did in that Coltrane's outlining chords, which is his defining feature, where Miles was more stepwise with his solos. The other difference is that Coltrane starts on the 7th, holds that note over into the next measure, which makes it the 4th of the next chord. Improv 101, we don't play the 4th over a major or dominant 7th chord because it clashes with the 3rd scale degree. But Coltrane does it anyway because he's going down the arpeggio of the next chord. So looking at this on a bigger picture scale, he's not starting that pattern on the 1, 3, 5, or even the 7. He's coming from the held note, that 11th, that clashy 11th, and then the next note is the 9th of that next chord, and he's going down that chord from there. He works his way down the 5th, and then he goes back up to the dissonant 11th to resolve to the next chord, to the 3rd. Here's a practice tip for you. Work on playing your arpeggios first from the 7th going down, then start on the 9th, the 11th, which should be raised if you're playing over a dominant 7th or major 7th, and then go down from the 13th. Now, as I mentioned before, Coltrane does play the regular 11th and holds it out for 2 beats. So he's adding that extra dissonance, but I really would strongly caution you against doing that. Okay, let's see what he does in the next measure, which is going to lead to the next 2-5-1. So in that F minor 7, he starts on the 7th, goes up to the 9th of that chord, then continues that melodic pattern of going down, then up the arpeggio. Our next 2-5-1 lick starts off with another dissonance. He's playing the major 7th of that A flat minor 7. In other words, he's playing a G instead of a G flat. Now that note was the last note from the previous measure, so it's almost like he's following the pattern he started the whole solo with, starting on a very dissonant note and then moving away using extensions of chords. Now from that major 7th, he immediately goes to the 9th through the major 3rd, another extreme dissonance, and then the 11th again. But this time, it doesn't sound as dissonant. You see, you can play an 11th over a minor 7 chord. It works. He goes down from there to the minor 3rd and resolves to the 13th of the D flat 7 chord until that resolves to the 5th. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now these extensions can twist your brain, okay? But here's an extra pro tip for you. Before we get to that pro tip, are you liking this so far? If so, give it a like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell to know when new videos are out. All right, here's that pro tip. Think about shapes. Look at the shape of his solo. He's repeating a shape and making a pattern out of it until he gets to the peak of the solo, that high D flat, and then he heads down using stepwise motion. Now, whatever you're improvising on, of course, you've got to work on chords, you've got to work on the chord scales, but then think about what shapes you can form. That's how these licks are melodic. So Coltrane repeated a shape, used dissonance, and resolved it at the end. Add these strategies from this video into your practicing to bring your improv to the next level. All right, on that note, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.